Hey everybody, I'm Dave Dastmalchian. I'm an actor, writer, sometimes even a comic book creator. Speaking of comic books, I've actually been in a number of DC stories as an actor, and I've played a bunch, and oh my gosh, now I'm starting to count them up. Boy, there's a lot to talk about here. You know, what draws me to playing all of these DC characters is since I was a kid, I have been collecting comic books. And I will be honest, I always loved the Marvel superheroes and the DC villains the best. There was something about the way the DC pantheon of bad guys and gals has been created over the decades that always really got me excited. And I love the fact that there can be bright, colorful personalities, while at the same time, very dark undertones and psychologically twisted machinations that motivate them. And that's been one of the really fun things for me about bringing these characters to life.
Let's go again.
I don't know anything! Don't!
You're not playing the odds, friend. Let's do it again.
So when I think about creating the character of Thomas Schiff, which was the Joker's thug who was part of the Dark Knight, I think back and it's very hard to describe how absolutely nervous I was. You must understand I was a kid who had collected comic books my whole life, and all of a sudden I was a theater actor who got a chance to audition for one of my favorite directors, one of my favorite film franchises, for one of my favorite villains. So I went into my heart and my memory, and I crafted a character based around my knowledge of what I felt like the inmates of Arkham would represent in the world that, you know, Christopher Nolan was creating. And someone who works for the Joker, to me, was someone who wasn't necessarily always there by choice. I liked the idea of being manipulated by such a master of darkness as is the Joker. So I wanted to create a character where I couldn't speak very well, but I giggled a lot and uncontrollably. So giggling was just a part of what I did. So even if I was scared or I needed help, giggling was what I was going to do. And I think the Joker, I imagined that he liked that about me and enjoyed making me do something out of fear and making everyone else think I was laughing about it, while deep inside, I was actually scared.
Stand down. It's your last chance.
Flash being ruthless. I like it.
This twisted man who uses technology to come back in time, not necessarily for wealth or even for power, but for approval. Really, that's how I've always understood Abra, because in the comic books, he really does. He wants people to clap for him and give him standing ovations, and defeating the Flash is part of his trick. We did an episode back in maybe 2015 or 16, and I loved getting to be on set and work with everybody, but I didn't feel like we really got to get to the heart of what I loved the most about Abra. So I was so excited when last year they called me and said, we want to bring Abra back. And because of Crisis on Infinite Earth, there was a whole ripple. So getting to come back with new tech and a new wand and cast a spell of malevolence against our favorite speedster was something I'll always treasure. Such a blast.
It's you. It's really you.
So Dwight, looking up to Jerome and seeing all of the misery and the pain that he inflicts upon this city and wanting to emulate that, is terrifying. We see it in real life. We see people who are so angry, who are so alone, who are so isolated, who haven't done the work on their mental health or their other, aspects of their personality, and therefore they gravitate towards these cults of personality that are destructive and dangerous, and they want to be like them. There is something really frightening about that, and I love that I got to play Dwight and say to everybody, we are all Jerome, this is us. And of course, thank goodness Gordon and the gang foiled our plans, because it was not going to be good for Gotham.
A killer who only works on holidays. There's lots of crazy out there.
The Calendar Man is like the Hannibal Lecter of this story, and he's a very different character than I've gotten to play before in any other comic book adaptations. He's much more quiet, he's much more still, he's very focused, and he's this very massive, physically intimidating presence. In The Long Halloween Part 2, I'm also getting an opportunity to very briefly bring to life the voice of the Penguin, who is yet another one of my favorite DC characters, and what the Penguin is, who he is, and what he represents in the world of the crime of Gotham is so fantastical and awesome. So I am in geek nirvana these days. I feel like I might just float out of my body and disappear into the ether of long boxes at a comic book shop in heaven somewhere.
And
Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
We're all gonna die.
I hope so.
The reality is that there are a lot of people like Abner in the world, people that don't really care or don't know if they should care whether they make it another day, because he is different. I mean, his superhero getup, his name is Polka-Dot Man. He's kind of like, how ridiculous is that? How embarrassing is that? And yet that he is part of this team for some reason. A lot of people don't know this, but I was born with a skin condition called vitiligo, so I have spots all over my body. I was very embarrassed about them for my entire life, and I got teased. I was called polka dots, and I was called milk mustache, and I was called a lot of things as a kid, and I was afraid it would affect my work. James didn't even know about it, and when I showed him, he was like, wow, that's so cool. But the person who helped me turn it around the most, my wife Eve, when she first met me and we first started dating, and she saw my dots and my spots, she thought they were cool and she thought they were hot, and she made me feel good about them. And I try to bring that into Abner as well. Like, own your spots. If you're out there and you got spots that you're embarrassed of, whether they're on the outside or the inside, if you're ashamed of your depression, if you're ashamed of who you are, if you're ashamed of the way you look, coming to realize that you're enough, you're just enough, and you're worth it is such a key to life. And I hope you surround yourself with people who tell you that. And if you're not surrounding yourself with people who tell you that, do that, because it will help so much. When Amanda Waller assembles these teams and puts together her mission and her strategy and her plan, there's no one that really understands or knows why she does what she does other than Amanda Waller. You're at her mercy. So to Abner, why he's been chosen to be a part of this team of elite kind of, supernatural or super gifted people is a mystery, and he's gonna have to figure out why she picked him, and you'll see that when you go see it.
Well, that's kind of our thing.
I'm a superhero!
The acting legend that is Margot Robbie, bringing Harley back to screens, and yet always continuing to find new levels, new layers, new nuances to that character that make her that much more exciting. And all of the other characters, their looks, their powers, their abilities, their performances, they're going to blow everyone away. And I say all of that so you guys know that, to me, the thing that is still going to mean the most to you underneath all of it is these crazy characters' relationships to one another and themselves, and the journeys that these characters go on. So when your eyes are this wide because you just saw some visually spectacular thing you've never seen in a movie before, because James Gunn has made magic with this film that's never been done before, when you least expect it, he's going to reach in and pull on your heartstrings in a way that you didn't see coming. That's what I'm most excited about. I can't wait to sit in the theaters with you guys and see the reactions that people have when those moments turn and twist. And dear Lord, I can't wait for the world to discover Daniela Melchior, who's playing the Ratcatcher too. Oh my God, get ready. She's so good, dude.